guys, welcome to Film Learnin, the show dedicated to learning news and filmmaking and learning it good. Now before we get started this week, I did actually revisit the Kamehameha earlier last week after one young fellow mentioned that the core was too bright. Now I could have just shrugged it off with our haters gonna hate, but I didn't because he made a fair point. If you haven't seen the episode, you can check it out down here. Alrighty, let's fix this thing. So you can either reopen our ball comp you created last week, or if you want you can just check down in the description because I've made a project file for you to download. It's all done for you. Select the shape layer and we'll change the color of the ball to a light blue rather than a white, and from there we'll head up to Effect, Noise and Grain, and add a fractal noise. Drag it up over the saber glows as well so it sits on top. Let's change some of the settings. We'll change the fractal type to threads, the noise type to soft linear, crank the contrast up to around 209, lower the brightness to -31, and change the complexity to 8. We'll then drop down the subsettings and have a play. Let's change the subsurface influence to 80.5, the subscaling to 10. Next, hit the stopwatch on sub offset, head to the end of the comp, and put it up to around 75. Last step, jump back to the start of the clip, hit the stopwatch on evolution, jump to the end of the comp, and crank it to 2 evolutions. Looks pretty sweet, huh? Here's what the final shot now looks like. So we took it from this to this. Now it looks like it's got a bit more going on it. So cheers to Side Turtles Ninja NX for getting my ass to fix it up a bit. Now that that's over, on to today's episode. This request comes from a person named PJ2010WN who said, "Is there a good way to do a spirit boom and throwing it?" I'm pretty sure he meant spirit bomb, so yeah, we'll do it. Now I know what you're saying. You took up half the episode with that correction. What the hell, douche? First off, that's not nice. And secondly, we're actually going to be reusing our Kamehameha ball from last week since you know they're both giant balls of energy and we just made it look cooler. We'll also be using trap code Shine and Particular in this episode, so grab those demos below as well. So here's a quick guide to the shots you should get. A close-up of your face, doing your best poo face, a mid-shot of you on an upward angle, a close-up of your hands thrown upward, a far and close shot for the throw, and of course some shots of your intended target. In my case, it's Doug. You might be asking why I didn't shoot this outside. Well, there's a good reason. It's damn cold and it's raining at the moment. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. We've already got our ball ready, so let's go and make some changes. Let's head over to the project window and duplicate the comp 2 more times so that we have 3 comps. Change the name on the first one to First Ball, the second one to Charging, and the third one to Throw, as we'll use a different comp for each shot. Now before we comp the bomb into any footage, make sure you have a basic edit in place and you've sent those shots from Premiere or your editor of choice. Okay, let's grab the footage of us with our hands up and drop it into a comp. We'll then grab the first ball comp and drop it in. Position it where you'd like and then we'll open that comp up. Select the shape layer, hit S to bring up scale, and then we'll hit the stopwatch and zero it out. Head to the end of the comp and scale up to a size that works for you. Once that's done, we'll throw in an adjustment layer, head up to Effect, Trap Code, and add Shine. Like last week, set the source point to a point on the ball, the ray length to anywhere from 1 to 5, the shimmer amount to 10, detail to 10, change the color ice to electric, the base on to blue, the source opacity to 100, the shine opacity to anywhere from 46 to 100, and set the transfer mode to lighten. Once again, we don't want it affecting the whole shot, so we'll grab the pen tool and draw a rough mask around the ball and animate that mask to grow as the ball does. We'll hit MM or expand down the mask settings, hit the stopwatch on mask path, and we'll work backwards, shrinking down our mask as our animation shrinks. We'll finish this off by hitting the stopwatch on mask opacity, crank it to 0, and turn it up to 100 at a point where it feels right for you. Turn the adjustment layer off and we'll draw a quick light fall off mask around the hands. We'll then head up to Effect, Color Correction, Exposure, and crank it up until it blows at the hands slightly. We'll animate the opacity of that mask the same way as the shine layer, 0 at the beginning, and crank it up to 100 around about the halfway point. Turn everything back on and that shot is done. The next shot we're going to cover is the shot from below. Set that up. Unlike the last shot, we'll be opening Charging first and scaling it up so it's cut off in the frame. We'll then switch back and forth between the comps to find the right size and position. That looks pretty good. From there, we'll turn our bomb off and duplicate our footage layer. Drag it on top of the bomb layer, grab the pen tool, and draw a mask around your actor. You can also shoot this particular shot on a green screen to avoid this part altogether. Once your mask's done, feather it out enough so it doesn't look weird. We'll then copy our adjustment layer from the last shot and paste it on in. Drop down the mask menu, delete that old mask and draw a new one, as rough as you like, and just feather it out a bunch. This layer should hide any imperfections in your mask if your actor moves around too much. If it still looks weird, you may have to animate your mask part to track down their movements. We cover that in this episode here. Next step in this shot is head up to Effect, Generate, and add a CC light rays to a point on the bomb just to give it a little bit more oomph. Have a play with these settings and find something that works, or just leave it as default, it still looks sweet. I also added a light fall off to my shoulders and head. You don't have to do this, but I'm a little bit anal. Right, that's 2 shots down. Now remember, the method I showed you in the second shot can be used on a bunch of different angles. You just have to adjust the shine settings a little. But the basic steps are universal since the bomb isn't growing much at all. So time to throw this bastard. Now for the smaller spirit bomb like a Krillin one, you can simply animate the position based on your hand movements, just hit P on the keyboard, hit the stopwatch and move it accordingly and then out of frame. If it's a Frieza Saga size, perform the throw motion, cut to a close-up of your target reacting to the bomb, and then a POV shot of the bomb consuming the frame. So let's do the POV shot, because it's super easy. Throw your footage into the comp and add the throw comp on top of the footage. Hit this box to make it a 3D layer, hit P on the keyboard and hit that stopwatch. We'll then move to the end of the shot and move it forward in Z space until it takes up the entire frame. Next, jump back to the last comp and copy that adjustment layer with shine and paste it on in. Don't forget to delete that old mask. You can draw a new one if you like, or just leave it, as it's a pretty quick shot. Lastly, turn on motion blur for the layer and the comp, and you're done with that shot. For the target reaction shots, I merely added some of those sweet light fall off layers and added another adjustment layer with both exposure and curves to the overall shot. I then animated the opacity and ramped it up as the bomb got closer, and had them on 100% just before the bomb hits. Last step was the final shot. I added an adjustment layer, headed to Effect, Color Correction, Exposure, hit the stopwatch on Exposure, headed to the end of the clip, and cranked it up until it blew out the frame entirely. So, add all those shots into your edit, and it should look something like this.
Come on, do it!
And that, my friends, is the Spirit Bomb effect. A fairly easy one if you've watched the Kamehameha episode already. Even if you haven't, the ball comp is sitting right down in the description for you. Dangling, like low-hanging fruit, begging to be picked. Much like the subscribe button, begging to be clicked. Put it up there, comment, like, share, and as always, you ragamuffins, keep learning.